Hey guys. I had a thing with my married coworker. I'm a single 30-yo man, never been married, not ugly but not superstar handsome. Just a normal dude with income just above the average. I've been working for my company for like 6 years as data analyst. 2 years ago we hired an HR. She was a tall, beautiful woman with big brown eyes. We'd never been close since I knew she was married. Just casual conversations about work, etc. At the end of 2023, my boss told me to check up every single employee's timesheets with HR department so managers would not cheat on overtime reports. That time we were chatting about 3 to 4 hours every single day. I'm usually very polite with my coworkers, but sometimes I let myself pass a couple of flirty jokes. She caught up so quickly, but I always kept a distance. Time passes over, we started chatting more and more. She told me everything about her childhood, how she got married, kids, etc. I was having a really good time. One evening she started asking about my private life, whether I'm with somebody, about my exes and stuff like that. Then, she said some weird stuff like, would you marry me if I was single? I would always tell her that she's married and I'm not interested in her. Then, she started sending questionable photos, underwear, etc. At that point I knew what we were coming up to and I just couldn't stop myself. I liked it, but I felt so dirty and bad at the same time. Right before New Year she texted me around 1 to 2 a.m. Our conversation has led into sexting. After that we were pretty close, we were like a secret couple, but I never let myself touch her physically. After New Year I made a decision to stop this weird relationships with her. I told her that, she begged me to stay, but I left. Left for not that long, in about 2 weeks I wanted to bring everything back. What I was thinking, I just missed her company I guess. But she refused my offer saying she felt guilty for her husband, moreover she was worried about me being too obsessed with her. I was like WTH. Well, I said okay and we started being friends. Since that I started noticing how flirty she is with other colleagues. She started telling me how many colleagues want to be with her. At that time I realized that I was not special at all. When we had friendly conversations it had to be all about her, otherwise she would not be interested in chatting. Nowadays we talk to each other as friends, she acts like nothing ever happened, and she's right, haha. About an hour ago she sent me a video of her listening to our song, I Wanna Be Yours, saying that song brought up so many memories for her. It worked for me too. My question to you guys. Am I a bad person? I always wanted to be a good man, but everything that is related to cheating isn't what a good man does. I always comfort myself that since I didn't touch her physically I made less evil. Was I cheated on? Feel like I'm going crazy. Hi everyone, I'll try to keep this short. I, F19, have been with my boyfriend, M20, for almost 3 years. Although yes, we had ups and downs, ultimately I was so in love and truly saw my whole future planned out with this person. I know this sounds stupid and some of his family and friends don't believe me, but a few days ago I genuinely got a gut feeling that something was off between the stories he told me about his ex. I wish I had more of an explanation behind why I snooped, but I really just had intuition I couldn't shake. I snooped through their messages while he was at work and discovered that they were still romantically involved the first week after my boyfriend and I had started officially dating. Important to note that this relationship with his ex was solely an online relationship, they didn't ever meet in person, but this person was his official girlfriend. I confronted him when he got back and he admitted to it and I broke up with him. Well, I wasn't able to leave and go to my place until a few days later because we got snowed in together. During these few days, I agreed to try to see if I could give him a second chance eventually, and I listened to his side of the story. His side of the story, he claims that he never really had feelings for this person but that he was just looking for someone to talk to. He attempted to end things a couple months prior to the messages that I found, which would also be a couple months prior to when he and I started dating, but he didn't really make it a clear end. My understanding is that he just said if this person didn't show up more for him he wasn't going to be able to show up anymore either. They then didn't speak for a couple months, but she reached back out to him, calling him baby, a week before he and I started dating. He did not shut it down, but he did not necessarily flirt back. When the main conversation happened after he and I were together, she was the one flirting and calling him my man and calling him pretty boy and referring to him as her boyfriend. Although he didn't directly flirt back, he kept talking to her. My perspective is that he egged it on a little bit. She said she was gonna bite him and his response was, "Oh yeah? How hard?" But he a couple sentences later said, "My dog bites me pretty hard," which was his way of steering the conversation away from flirting to. He says he knew it was wrong, but he didn't think it was cheating since he didn't flirt and since he didn't view himself as being in a relationship with this person anymore. He was too scared to call it off, so he just went along with it hoping it would end. They didn't talk again after that conversation, but he reached out a year and a half later to update her on his life. She never responded. His initial reason for this was that he thought she was dead, but when I asked why he thought that, he had no actual reason to think it. There weren't any signs or reasons. He said he was going to tell me eventually, but it's hard for me to believe that since he had 3 years to tell me, and we also had conversations about his ex in the past. Nothing too crazy, but we both shared stories of our past people to get full understandings. I never asked if there was overlap in the timeline, but I didn't think I had to ask that. He knows he messed up and he's apologizing a lot and saying he will prove himself to me. I'm just going crazy because I don't even know if he actually cheated. My friends and family all say he did, but his friends and family all say it's not cheating. His mom specifically said I'm actually in the wrong for breaking up with him over something so little, since it can't be cheating if it wasn't physical and happened 3 years ago. Please help me. I'm waiting for my therapist to call me back, but I just need some opinions from people who aren't biased towards me or him. I tried my best to fully explain his side of the story to not make this sound biased. So my fiancée went out with a friend and her husband to celebrate her friend's birthday while I stayed at home with the kids. She eventually came home later that night at around 4 a.m., which raised some big red flags for me. Later in the morning, while being asked to plug her phone into its charger, I got curious and looked through her text history between her and the husband and her friend, where I came across multiple videos of the three of them having sex that were sent from my fiancé's phone to his, meaning it was filmed on her phone, and on the videos it was in the POV of the friend's husband. Now we've been to counseling and therapy, and for the most part I've started to come to the acceptance of what she's told me what happened, except for one part of the story which seems so far-fetched and impossible that it's unraveling the validity of the entire story for me. Her side of the story is that when things escalated to sex, the husband grabbed her phone, which was the closest to him, and started filming. After filming, and without her knowledge, he was able to unlock her Face ID locked iPhone, go into her gallery, and send himself the videos of what he took, and then delete them from her gallery and her recently deleted files, which is also Face ID protected, all without her knowledge. My gut is telling me this is a bold-faced lie to prevent accountability as much as possible and come across as being a victim trying to garner sympathy. This seems like a weird detail to be hung up on considering what has transpired. But I'm trying my hardest to rebuild this relationship, and this fact keeps sticking out to me like a sore thumb, and I'm posting her to see if it's a plausible story or most likely a fabrication. Thanks for hearing me out.